Hey y'all, welcome back to Hopeful and Wholesome. You are listening to a really special series that I'm really excited to bring to life. My Frequency Recalibration mini-series. So over the past few months, I've been pioneering this new way of healing, what I'm calling energy frequency medicine, which I talked about in a previous episode, where we look at the protocol and into the frequency behind your symptoms, your nervous system patterns, your emotions, your evolution. And so in these sessions, I use the Healy device to map the energetic frequency, the energetic field, the space where stress and trauma and identity imprint long before they ever come physical symptoms. And we calibrate the frequency to match who you are becoming. And so in this series, I'm bringing on women who've experienced this work firsthand to share what shifted inside their bodies, how their nervous system responded, and what unfolded for them during their 2-week integration after their session. I want this to illustrate to you that healing is not just something we do or work on or we think about. This is something we feel, something we live, something we embody. And I want this series to show that. And in this episode, I'm joined by my friend Kendra Woods. Kendra has been a guest on the show before. She is a fire and flow mentor, Splenic Projector, who came into the experience with a full energy field and knowing my intuition is speaking, but I just can't quite hear it clearly or interpret what it's trying to say. So inside her frequency recalibration session, she uncovered the exact energetic pattern behind that noise, why she couldn't quite hear it clearly. And in just a couple weeks, her body awareness totally sharpened, her boundaries strengthened, and her creativity just switched back online in ways that she couldn't have expected. So we're going to dive deep into her experience with frequency work, the insights, the surprises, the emotional releases, and how tuning her energy changed how she feels in her body and how she shows up in her life and her business now. So let's get into it. Okay, y'all, I'm here with Kendra. Kendra, I'm so excited to dive into this with you and really dissect what's gone on for you over the past couple of weeks. So first of all, thanks for being my guinea pig, beta tester. I don't know what you want to call it, but thanks for being willing to dive in and just go with the flow here and go deep into the process. And really, I know you've been really going into the process. So thank you for that. And I would love just for a quick, you've been on the podcast before, which I said in the intro, but can you just give a quick, just little intro of just what you do? And with that, maybe kind of your intention, when I presented this to you, kind of what was your mindset of, was it just oh, I'll just try it out? Or did you have any intention going into the session?
So, well, a little bit about what I do. So I am now calling myself the fire and flow mentor because I realize that a lot of the work that I do obviously is around alignment with your human design, and it's around, becoming and stepping into your next level. And that looks like fire sometimes, right? Like that transformational fire. And then the flow of just being with the process of becoming and being with the process of stepping into a new identity. So I support women through their transitions of becoming in their life and business. So as far as, did I have an intention moving through? I think, to be honest, when you first approached me, I think curiosity was the first thing. I'm a very curious woman. I'm that sounds interesting. And you mentioned the Healy, which I have a Healy, and I'm oh, well, this is going to be even more cool. I want to see what this is all about. Because I also deal in the world of energetics, in my work and with my clients, I'm always looking and I'm always curious about different ways that I can up-level my own energetic field and keep it clean. And when you were talking about how this would work and how it would point out different parts of your energy that may be a little off, or maybe I was yes, that aligns with where I am right now, because at the time, and I still am, I'm looking at, okay, how can I just make sure that my energy is the cleanest it can possibly be? Right? Clean energy. And so I think that, those were a few of my intentions going into one, just being curious, and then two, being oh, well, this would be really great to see how this could help me in my own desire of just creating more clean energy within myself.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'm the same. Curiosity is always a leading factor, which is amazing. I mean, I feel that's such a huge part of life. It's just that curiosity. I'm reading this book right now, and it's about how to approach like kids and their spirituality and stuff. And that's a big thing is the curiosity. Like, I think as long as we can foster that curiosity from children up there, I mean, that's how we continue to grow and evolve. And I feel like that's how you get the fullest experience out of life is just to lead with curiosity. So I think that's such an important piece there to pull out. Were you experiencing at the time any specific patterns or frustrations that you were hoping to like get clarity on?
I think where I was, and I don't know, this is beautiful timing, right? Because I knew that I wanted to, so I'm a splenic projector. I mean, for people that don't know human design, that might mean nothing to you. But for me, I know that like a big part of my decision-making process is like in the moment and listening to those quiet whispers within. And so right before you approached me with this, amazing experience, I had really been focused on, okay, I need to quiet the noise so I can hear more of my intuition, more of my instinct. And the reason I'm going here is because I could feel in my own energy field that my energy just felt really full. It felt really full. It felt like there was a lot of stimulation going on. I was picking up a lot of energy from around me, just the world, business, people, like all the things. And I was recognizing that I actually needed to spend more time clearing my energy than I had before. You know how you reach those periods where you're like, okay, I got to spend more time with my energetic hygiene because things are really heightened right now. And so I don't know if it was a frustration more so as it was an awareness that I wasn't hearing my own self clearly enough. And I wanted to be able to just like clear out the noise and really just hear the whispers of my own intuition and my own way of making decisions,
Yeah, that makes total sense. Do you feel like did this scan reflect anything that you felt like your intuition already knew, but maybe you hadn't said out loud, or it's like the awareness, it's like one of those moments where like, oh yeah, like I knew that. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. There was a part when you were going through the chakras, like, how you go through each chakra and you kind of tell like where, I'm going to say how healthy it is. That might not be the right word.
No, that's valid. Yeah.
The health of your chakras. And so when you were talking about like the root, for example, I was really pleased to hear how well or how healthy my root chakra was, because I have done so much work just around grounding and stability and, moving out of that survival energy to more of that like just grounded and present energy. And so when you reflected back to me that like, okay, your root center is like, really healthy. And here's what I was like, yes. So that felt great. When you worked on something within yourself for so long, like you kind of recognize it within yourself. Like, I think I've done some good work here. But then to have that external validation really of like,
the proof.
Yeah, the proof.
Yeah.
Felt really good. And then when we got to the third eye, I mean, I think that really shocked me, to be honest, because like I said, right before you and I went into this experience, I knew like I wasn't zoned in particularly on my third eye, but I was in that space of like, I'm not hearing my intuition clearly, right? Like that energetic clarity just wasn't there. And so when you said that, okay, there's some chaos there, there's some work that needs to be done there, I thought, wonderful. Kind of knew that, but like just again, hearing that validation of, yes, your intuition is correct was so great.
Hey, y'all, we'll get right back to the episode. But first, let me ask you this. You've built a vision that others admire. And you've built something that you're really proud of. But behind the scenes, your body feels like it's lagging behind. It just can't quite catch up to your brilliance and your mission that you have. That late night second wind, the foggy mornings, the hormone shifts, the endless push and forcing. You can't strategize your way out of that. And you already know you don't need more supplements. You don't need another supplement stack. You also don't need another side hustle disguised as self-care, because nobody wants to have their health as a side hustle. This is about recalibrating your entire ecosystem. And that's why I created the Quantum Reset, a premium 3-month high-touch healing experience for visionary women who are ready to feel as powerful in their bodies as they do in their business. Inside, we decode your nervous system, your minerals, your hormones. We read your labs like the sacred text that it is, so we have actual answers. And then we pair that with deep energetic recalibration, subconscious release. We use gene keys, we use human design, and true embodied healing. This isn't about fixing burnout, because that's not what we're doing here. This is about becoming the woman whose body is powerful, whose body is completely electric, whose energy, clarity, radiance finally matches the size of her mission. If you know your success isn't meant to cost you your vitality, and you're ready for a science-backed, spirit-led reset, then the quantum reset is your invitation. So check the link in the show notes or send me a message on Instagram, and let's bring your body back online with your brilliance. Now, let's get back to the show. Yeah, that was a big one for you. And I know that was something that you worked with a lot over these last couple of weeks in your integration period. So have there been moments where you've been able to sense better clarity or responding differently to situations, whether it be stress, rest, creativity? Have you felt yourself respond differently with this kind of newfound sense of awareness with that?
Yes. And here's what I'll say. The thing that has come online the most for me has been body awareness. And here's what I mean by that. I've always been aware of my body. I mean, I have a defined spleen. Like I have that body awareness. But what I mean by that is being able to, I've noticed I've actually gotten better at being able to decipher the energetic communication that's coming from my body, right? Like, for example, the other day, I was sitting on the sofa and I was like, gosh, I just feel like I got plenty of sleep. It was a weekend, so I was resting. I got plenty of sleep. But I was sitting there on the sofa and I was like, why do I feel so drained? I was like, gosh, I feel so sleepy. I feel so lethargic. I feel so fatigued. And I just heard my body say, like, go put some lemon and some salt in your water. Like, I think you need some, like a little electrolyte balance, And that's all I heard was like lemon and salt. And I was like, oh, let me go do that. And I went and did that. And literally after 10 minutes, I was like, great. Like, I feel good. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, did I just... And so it's funny because I even noticed when my body is asking for something, I'm wanting something really comforting right now. I'm wanting some, and I think this is coming up too, because I'm working a lot on focusing on what I'm eating and like tracking what I'm eating, and I'm being really intentional with that. And so I think that's why this was kind of heightened too. But noticing that the different things my body wants, like, I could really use something really refreshing and light right now. Okay, great. Let me go grab some fruit. Or I'm really needing to just feel some groundedness because I've been on client calls all day. Okay, great. Let me go eat some protein. Like, it's so, I can't explain it. It's just like, I'm knowing it. It's becoming more of a conversation, I guess, versus more of just a habit of like, oh, let me go grab some protein. Let me go do this. It's becoming a conversation.
Yes. I love this so much. As you're saying this, I was pulling up your analysis because I wanted to look at these. And it's because I remembered us talking about this in your analysis. So in the coaching analysis, not with the aura analysis, but from the coaching analysis, there was multiple things that came up about harmonization and health. And like this one I was looking at was a harmonization in areas of life. This one was health. And there was another one about health. Was there more than one? Gentle, regular, and timely harmonization and health. But that's what came up for me because I remember us talking about that. And I'm like, this is it. This is the harmonization. You're like, it's not just out of habit. It's like an actual intentional conversation with your body. Like, you're telling me what you need. Like, that is, I like got goosebumps when you're saying this. I'm like, this is it. This is like the harmonization. Like, this is, oh my gosh, it's like a two-way conversation, not like robotic habit. Like, oh my gosh, I love this.
That was, yeah. I mean, I gotta say, like, it felt really good because I was like, wow, like, and it's funny, we say this, our bodies are always talking to us, right?
Yeah.
And we know this, but I feel like there's been this ability to really decode like exactly what you're saying in a way that is so clear versus me trying to trial and error it and be like, oh, let me go see if I can take a nap. Oh, let me go see if I need to go do this. And no, we need to go outside.
Yes.
Okay. We need some salt, some minerals. And I'm like, oh, okay. I
love this. Yes. That's amazing. Well, and it's what I was just having a conversation the other day on a podcast, because I talk about this with my clients all the time. And I love that you use the word decode, because that's a word that I love to use, because it really is, it's learning the language of the body, and it's decoding. I use that word too, decoding the language of the body, because everybody's body is speaking, but everybody's body is speaking in a different way. Like, we all have our own language. And so I talk about this sometimes on the show, where sometimes we become so disconnected from our bodies. It's like listening to a foreign language. Like, if somebody was speaking I don't know, Italian to me. I don't know Italian, so I don't know what you're saying. So it's like sometimes it feels like a foreign language in the body, where when we have this connection, this is what you're talking to, that you've deepened this connection, you're able to decode and decipher. Well, I don't have to guess, like, oh, I have this headache. Is it because I'm thirsty? Because I didn't eat enough? Is my blood sugar low? It's like, no, in the moment, like, I know exactly what my body is saying. I've decoded the language. I understand. Like, that is so powerful. And I do think that we underestimate that, because you could be spending so much time and energy with that trial and error like you're talking about, versus like, no, I got it. I got this clear pathway. I know what my body's saying right now. Like that's huge.
Yeah, it really is huge. And I think that and this might sound weird, but I don't know, like it's actually like bumped up my confidence a bit. Like when it comes to my intuition, when it comes to what I'm feeling or hearing something, it's like, oh no, like that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And I'm noticing too, I ate a couple of things over the weekend that were just like, my body was like, no, 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 and no. Like I got this visceral, like, oh God, sick at my stomach. Like, I don't want this. That was my body saying, stop eating that. Stop eating it. Like, we don't like it. Stop eating it. And whereas maybe in the past, I could see myself just being a little bit tuned out to that, right? Just wanting to eat that for the comfort and not realizing that that's not the kind of comfort that my body was looking for. And I think we often reach to food. I actually had this conversation with myself the other day. I was like, oh, this is interesting, because I'm recognizing my conditioning around wanting to reach for food when it comes to wanting to be comforted, or when I'm noticing I'm stressed, I want to reach for the food. And sometimes that's not always what it is. Sometimes what my body is saying is, I want comfort. And that just might mean I need to go get a hug from my husband. Like I've been doing that now. I need a hug, just that co-regulation, right? And then I'm like, oh, that was it, right? Or go walk outside barefoot in the grass. I'm like, that was it. And so it's expanding the territory of what I now know I can offer my body. It's not just the food, or it's not just meditation, right? Sometimes there's all these other things. If I listen closely enough, it's showing up.
I love that. I love that. Something else that came up, I remember coming up for you in your session, was I was trying to look at your thing to see exactly what it said, but it was around boundaries. And we talked about that. There was multiple things about boundaries. I'm wondering if that has been come up for you at all for the past couple weeks at all, about the boundaries, like emotional, energetic boundaries.
Yes. So, and that's interesting, because I feel like I'm actually working through that right now as it pertains to more so like energetic boundaries. And again, like, I mean, you and I, we speak human design language. And so I can talk like this with you, because my husband is a generator. He is really, really defined. He's got six centers defined, very defined.
And you are totally open. You're so open.
Exactly. And I'm very, very open. And I'm starting to recognize that my limit, I guess, of capacity when his energy is around, meaning I'm noticing that it's like, okay, when he's here, like he was just off, for example, 3 days in a row. I could feel I was so full, because he's a generator and he's loud, right? Like he's got like the TV going, he's talking to himself, he's like putzing around the house, and I work from home, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, this is a lot. So yesterday I was like, I'm going to leave. Like I'm going to leave the house. I'm going to go. I met with a friend and we were talking business and stuff, but I needed that detachment, because it wasn't just enough for me to be in my office. I was still feeling his energy.
The energy, yeah.
Right. And so it's like, I noticed in that, I'm like, I created that boundary of like, all right, well, there's no need for me to allow this frustration I'm feeling to spill over into like a confrontation. It's, you know what? I love you. I'm going to go and meet with a friend, and we're going to talk business and do some things. And that energetically supported me so good. So I'm noticing there's still some more work with that. And I think that also leads into with the third eye piece, the energetic boundary of just turning off the simulation. I've been watching less TV. I'm putting my phone down earlier, like while I'm getting ready for bed, reading my book more in the car, not listening to anything. And that's been refreshing.
Yeah, that's really beautiful awareness, because I think sometimes we are more, I don't know if aware is the word, but I guess it is a more sensory thing when it's people. Like, I think we can feel the energy of the people. Like, we're more aware of that because it's a lot of times it's in our face. But all those other little things, like you're talking about, like the TV and the movies or shows or whatever, and the listening to things, like all of that is still energy. Like, it's still taking in energy. I know that's been a big thing for me. I mean, I'm a Manny Gen, so I have different energy than you anyway, but I also have an undefined solar plexus. And so I have to be careful with that too. And I have an undefined head. And so it can be like overstimulation with all the information. So I have to be really careful of that too. And I know the first time I did like, quote, digital detox, that was such a big awareness for me because I'm like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like, I just like to learn. Like, that's all it is. Like, I'm fine. Yeah. Like, it's just, no, it's like, then I realized when I turn it off, I'm like, oh, there's like quiet that can happen up here. Like, it's totally different. Yeah.
It is. And it's like it trickles throughout the rest of your energy field, right?
Yes.
It's just that it's kind of soothing. It's like, oh.
Yes. It's like an exhale.
It's like an exhale. Exactly. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, that's huge. Well, and I know we talked about in your session, I thought this was so interesting. And I brought this up I think it was in a podcast interview last week. I brought this up. The interesting little connection, we were talking about boundaries, and because there's a couple things in there talking about boundaries, emotional boundaries, that kind of thing. And then you mentioned like, oh, I'm trying to, get my A1C, improve my A1C. And we start talking about blood sugar. And I'm like, wait a minute. Your solar plexus is connected to your detox and your pancreas, which emits insulin. Like, it was this whole connection. And this is why I love doing the work that I do, because I love connecting these pieces where it's like, for you are such a healthy person. Like, you're so intentional about what you eat and moving your body and working on all the things. You're like, man, but I really want to get my A1C. There's no rhyme or reason why your A1C would be off at all because you're a healthy person. So it's that one thing. And I have that. This is every client I work with. It's like, I'm a healthy person. I do all the things. Why is this thing off? Why do I feel this thing off? This is the connection. It's the energetic stuff. Like, then we put it together like, oh, yes, my body is like, hold on a second. Like, boundaries, my friend. It's like boundaries. That's what your body's asking for. And like you're saying, this like emotional detox of energy. So you're not soaking it all in.
Exactly. Something else that came up, like speaking of emotions, like I had something that I was like holding on to, like a conversation that I needed to have with a particular person. Mm-hmm. And I've just been holding on to it for months, right? And I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't even know why. I'm like, why am I holding on to this? And so finally, like, I had a conversation with this person over the weekend, and I was like, and that felt like an exhale. I was like, Kendra, like, you knew, like, and it's funny how we can know something, like we know we're holding on to energy we need to release, but for whatever reason, we just take our time with releasing it, when if we would just have the conversation and do the thing, we would be free of it. But I had that conversation and I was like, okay, I honored my emotions. And what I noticed is that the longer I kept holding on to it, the more stories I kept creating about what this other person was thinking. And then when I had the conversation, the other person was thinking something completely opposite than what I thought I was like, okay. So it makes you just stop and go, where else am I doing this?
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy the stories we attach to things where it's like, well, it's really not that deep, but you've made it like this huge thing and then to your point, it's like now there's so much energy being siphoned from the rest of our body because we're putting it into this story behind this thing it doesn't even have to be a thing. Like, I mean, that's such a huge energy suck. And I know for someone with an undefined solar plexus, I mean, that can be tricky. That can be tricky.
It can be. And I think with that too, there might have been some like avoidance at play, right? Because that for me anyways, with my undefined solar plexus, there's always this like, well, yeah, I would say avoidance of wanting to feel the other person's emotion because I know I'm going to feel it and I'm going to feel it.
Exactly. That's exactly it. I totally agree.
So
yeah. That's it. I mean, I know the fear of confrontation, the avoidance of confrontation is a huge shadow of the undefined solar plexus for that reason. I mean, we don't want to have to feel other people's stuff. And it's like, it's inevitable. It's like, it's, know it's going to happen. And that's so profound what you just said. I think that's huge. I want to ask you about your kind of what you've felt shift. And we've talked about a handful of things just now, but what do you feel like? I know it's only been a couple weeks and this is kind of like this thing can compound, right? But just in the past couple weeks, what do you feel like has been the biggest shift for you before and after, like now?
The biggest shift, I would say, because there's so many little micro shifts that have happened.
Sure.
And I think probably the biggest shift, I don't know if I have language for it, but it's like this, there's become like this more intimate, like understanding of my internal world and what it's wanting to say to me. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
a part of it, like one of the things I wrote down here just in my notes, I was just jotting some things down of like, okay, what's come up? I've been doing more like creative writing, and that has come from, and that's something, and I haven't felt that urge to just like put a timer on and just let myself just write whatever wants to come through. I haven't felt that urge to do that in a very long time. And that's been coming online more and more. I've just like that craving of just wanting to sit in front of my computer, turn a 20-minute timer on, turn on some nice binaural beats, and just let whatever wants to come out, come out. That's been really fun. And that was a real big shift. And the second big shift I would say is also being more intentional. And we talked about this a few moments ago, just being more intentional about honoring my need for quiet and solitude. And so, there's been a couple of times where after I'm done with like being on like this or whatever, or out there, like I'll go eat lunch. And normally I would like want to catch up on a show or something and just kind of have like that little downtime. And lately I've been like, you know what, let's just sit and just eat and not have any stimulation. What would that be like? Going for walks and not listening to anything. It's just been so nourishing. And it also feels like it causes my energy to just slow down just a little bit, so that the messages that are wanting to be received, I can actually perceive them because my energy is slowed down, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? My
Yeah.
energy is not running out here
Yes.
for ahead that it can't hear
Yes.
what my
Yes.
energy is trying to say. It's like there's that recalibration of like the energy
Yes.
slows down a bit so they can actually hear the subtleness of what wants to be said.
Yes.
And that's pretty cool.
No, it's totally cool. I love all of that. I think that's the client of mine a few weeks ago. We were talking about this because she was talking about how she hasn't done one of these sessions before, but just in the other work that we're doing together, she has a session next week, do it with the Healy. But she was talking about how she hasn't seen these huge shifts in like her physical body, which she has some goals, right? There's nothing wrong with those. But the thing she recognized the most was like her physical energy had shifted, but it was like this hidden compartment opened up with all this other creative energy. And she said it was all these things that she'd had like on the back burner. She wanted to start a book and she wanted to do some different things in her business. But it's just like you're saying, it's like we let the energy calm down. We like take back that energy that had been siphoned by other things. Like for her, it's like hormonal things and that kind of stuff. But it's like now that energy can be put to other things. It's like this energy we didn't know we had is all of a sudden we find it.
Right.
And you have the space for these creative things like you're talking about, the creative writing and these things where it's like maybe you didn't have the capacity, the energetic capacity, the mental capacity, whatever, the space to do it. It's like that. I feel like that this is so underestimated, I guess is the word I want to say. Like we think about physical energy in terms of like doing and having more energy to do things. But for me, this creative energy is a whole other animal. And it's like we there's so much untapped like within us. And I think that's the thing that people underestimate. Like we think we're here at this level and we have no idea what's untapped, like what's below the surface waiting to come out. And it's when we're able to do something like this working with energy frequencies and we've let go of things and we're, like you're saying, I'm honoring my needs and I'm understanding my energy. Like this is how we're able to take that back and find these untapped sources of energy that are just waiting to come out.
Exactly. It's like mining for gold,
Yeah.
It's there.
It's there.
It's totally there. It's just getting out of it's like getting out of the like motion. Like, how when you get on the like a roller coaster or something, and because of the centrifugal force, it kind of like it holds you back. And you're trying to like, I remember being a kid, you're like trying to fight against it, but it keeps you back. I think that's what it can feel like sometimes when our energy is spinning, and it just keeps going and going and going and going. And it can feel a little challenging to like step off the ride, I'm like, okay, let me step off a bit. But I think when we do, but like what you said, it's like this portal of energy just opens up and you're like, whoa, where was that? And it's been a long time. We've just been spinning so fast that it's like, because when you're spinning really fast, everything blurs together.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
all blurs
exactly.
together. So
Yes, yes, that's
yeah.
such a good metaphor. That's so perfect. That's so true. Do you find that if there was if this session and this kind of experience, I want to say session because it's the whole experience, has it helped you meet this potentially this kind of next level version of you? Like how would you describe her?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love that. So I would say yes. And here's why I'm saying this, because again, before you and I really kind of dove deeper into this conversation, this experience, my whole work this year has been about, being the kind of woman who like she's present, right? She's not
Mm,
rushing through things, like rushing to do this and rushing to launch this and rushing to do that. Because I've noticed that as a pattern of mine where I get into these seasons of just like, and I don't know why. Like I just feel like things, and maybe it's because there's a little bit of impatience there, where it's like you want to rush the process. And I think what I'm learning with this and just with other work that I've been doing is that stepping into that version of me who is just present. She's not
mm,
rushing, like she's giving her full attention to wherever she is and whatever she's doing. Once that's complete, it's like she gives herself space to let that be complete, release that energy, and then stepping into the other thing. And so when I think of my next level version and who the woman that I'm becoming, it's like, yeah, she's not running around frantic like a chicken with her head cut off, right? Thinking that how fast she moves, is a measure of how productive or how good she is. But
yes.
more so, it's how potent can she allow her actions to become when she allows herself to just slow down and just be present.
Mm,
And so that's what that look like. And then I think the other piece too is trusting more of what is aligned for me in the moment. And I think this is where that creative writing piece came in, because letting go of the expectations of like, oh, I've got to write this. Because look, the creative writing pieces that I've been doing, I'm sharing them. I'm like sending them out as emails. I'm sending them out on
wow.
social media. And it's letting go of the mind that says, well, how does this connect to your current offer?
Yes.
Speaking to your ideal person, the right hook. Do you have it's like letting all of that stuff go
Yes.
and being the kind of woman who instead like writes and shares with this frequency and this resonance. She's not sharing from this intellectualized place. And that is really what I am moving to, as being the kind of woman whose frequency and whose words and whose resonance, it's what grabs people, and not some like catchy little hook or like some trend.
Template. Yes.
Template, right?
Yes. Yes.
And that feels really, really good, because to me, that
Mm,
feels like, okay, this is timeless, right?
yeah.
People could pick this up and read it at any point in time, and it still has that resonance, versus if it's a trendy thing, it's like, oh, well, what is she talking about? Like, it won't make any sense. Yeah, because the trend's over with, you know?
Yep. Yep.
So,
Yep. For sure.
yeah.
Man, that is so powerful. That is such a huge awareness. Well, and it goes back to what we were talking about in your session, where you're kind of in this transition of kind of transitioning, like how you describe yourself and what you do in your business and that kind of thing. I mean, I think a lot of it is, well, so much of it is tied to your intuition, which that came up a lot, right? The third eye thing, but it's so much of you just being more of you and just letting you shine through. Like I wasn't trying to make that a rhyme, but it did. I think that that is such a big part of it, and that's what you're saying. It's like I can let myself be present and just like feel what's in the moment and let me shine through, and like the authentic, like that is so profound. And I think people maybe unknowingly like search for that for a long time. And I think that when you're able to have that deep sense of personal awareness and that deep connection to your body and your intuition, like this is what can happen. I mean, this is a powerful transformation in that.
It really brings about like the simplicity, right? Like it just
Mm,
all so simple again.
yeah, that's true.
And you realize where maybe you've been over efforting in some areas, or where you've been like moving from a place of performance instead of just presence.
Yes.
And I think too, it leads you to a place of realizing that when you just let yourself be yourself, like it's enough. I think you
Mm,
can get caught up so much, especially if you're a business person, right? And you have an online business, you can get so caught up in trying to like run a business that you forget that, okay, you are the business. Like it's running from your energy, and we can get so caught up in like all the right things. And maybe I should do it like this. And you lose the essence of you. And I think that that's what, for me and in my work, it's like, I'm going to just like bring the essence of who people are, of who I am, like into the business. Because I feel like that's, and I don't know, maybe not everyone agrees with that. Some folks are really more on the paradigm of traditional business. And I think I'm more on the paradigm of like energetic business,
Yeah, for sure. It's so funny you're saying this is, well, not really off topic, but kind of off topic. The like 2027 shift. I had some gals on my podcast come and we talked about that the other day. But that's like the big shift in the 2027 paradigm shift. It's going to this like individualization and figuring out like what's true for you and what's potent for you. It's that individualization piece. So I feel like everything you're saying is so on point with where we're going, leaving the cross of planning to the sleeping phoenix, cross the sleeping phoenix. But that's what it is. It's like, it's that individualization piece and understanding like, how do I want to do it? What's true for me? Like that is so perfect. Yeah. I love this. Okay. I have like 2 more questions I want to ask you, because I could keep going with this all day. So one thing I want to ask, well, actually, can you speak to this for anyone listening? Because I do know, and I said this when I had approached you about the session, and I told the other gals the same thing. These sessions aren't for everybody, right? Like you have to be able to come into these sessions with an open mind. And for the gals that I had do it, like everybody is open to energy work and energy frequencies and all that stuff. So it wasn't a hard sell to y'all. But for those listening who maybe there's some skepticism or there's some like, well, how does this really work? Like, what would you say to someone who has maybe that little bit of skepticism or this is like totally not something I would normally do? Like, what would you say?
Like, there has to be that element of curiosity. I think I really do believe if you can come at this with the intention of curiosity, it allows your brain to kind of relax a little bit, because then it's just like, all right, well, let's just see what happens.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that is a big piece of it. And here's what I'm going to say is, I remember I told you I was doing like third eye meditations and things like that. And so I was listening to this, it was a guided meditation about the third eye. And there was a little bit of like conversation in the beginning. And one of the things that it said was, it was like, when you are focusing on your third eye chakra, it's not about trying to make something happen. It's not about trying to force your third eye chakra to come open. It's not about sitting here and like looking for, is it working? Is it working? It's just allowing. And I think that that's the piece that's really important when you come into this work. It is do your best to come at it from a place of curiosity, and also do your best to just let whatever happen without attaching a story to it.
Yes.
Without thinking it's wrong or right. It just is.
Yes.
Like it just is. And I think when you approach it from that space, it makes the process just enjoyable, the experience enjoyable. And I will say this too, and it's okay if you sometimes don't have words for what is happening, because sometimes it is difficult to translate energy into words.
That's very true.
Because it does lose a little bit of its essence when we start putting it into matter.
Yes.
Words.
Yes. Yes.
So sometimes it's just a feeling, right? Like when we were talking about the move to 2027 individualization, I could feel like my solar plexus, just like, I just felt this little like in my, I was like, oh, that was interesting, and like, oh, we like that. All right. Keep it to analyze it, be like, oh, what was right? It was just
what does it mean? Yes. Yes. I'm so glad you called that out, because I think that's a really crucial point, because I've been saying this a lot on the show lately too, just like leading up to launching these sessions, these frequency recalibration sessions, is everything is energy first before it's matter. So you're right. We try to define it and put, the 3D on the 5D, and it loses a little bit of its essence, right? When we try to do that. So I think you That's such a beautiful point, because just like one of the, which you actually did use really beautiful words. One of the things I asked you, and you were like, oh, it's hard to put into words right now. But it's like you had the feeling, and I have that, but it's like how to verbalize it. So I think that's such a great point that I'm glad you brought up, that it's not always something we can put words to. And also it doesn't always make logical sense either. And sometimes in the moment, it's like, what the heck was that? But then like maybe 2 weeks later, you're like, oh, now I get it, right? Like other things have to line up for your conscious mind to be like, oh, okay, like these things line up. Now I understand it. So I think that's such an important piece to this. And the curiosity piece, of course, like I can't say that enough too, just coming in with curiosity. And like you said, like, let it just be what it is. And whatever happens, happens. It's not good or bad. I mean, and I know you probably say the same thing to people when you're talking about their charts. Like there's no good or bad parts of your human design. It is what it is. Like this is how it's divinely made, and it is what it is. And it's the same thing with this kind of work. It's just being, like you said, being with it and not having to make sense or stories or whatever around it. Yeah, I love this. So powerful. Okay, so the last thing I want to ask you here is like quick fire, like rapid fire reflections here. Might be tough. One word to describe your session.
I would say illuminating.
Oh, I like that one. One thing your body let go of.
One thing my body let go of.
You can say two if you need to.
I'm going to say reasoning and I would say complexity.
I'm back to the simplicity. I love that. Oh man. One thing you're calling in.
I feel like I'm always calling in alignment, like deeper of alignment. And I'm calling in like for myself, just from my own elevation, I guess, like a little bit more, what to call this, like frequency mastery. It's like, how like just more mastery of frequency.
Yeah.
Because I know it and I get it, but it's like, oh, okay, now there gets to be another level of that mastery. We've got level 1, level 2, now let's step to level 3.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Yes. No, I love that. Last one. One frequency you're choosing to embody next.
Frequency I'm choosing to embody next is overflow. Overflow.
Yes, Kendra, this is so good. I can't thank you enough for doing the session, but also just being so open with your experience and everything. Like there's so much here for everybody. And I am so glad that you're able to share so much and put so much into such beautiful language of everything you're experiencing and like what's coming up for you. So I appreciate you so much for this. And yeah, I can't wait for people to listen and to experience this for themselves. So thank you.
This is fun.